Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I am going to be taking all of these pieces here and creating one of these. This is a mechanical hand. It's a robot hand. It's a claw hand. Here we have a test subject here, so the idea is that it comes down here and yeah, there we go. Works. Yeah, that's an unhappy jack right there. Okay, so what we need though, we need two of these. This is just one. So here's another look at the construction. It kind of has a weird piston thing here and closes like that. First thing I'm going to do is I need this screw out of here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to grab the old Dremel. I'm going to put on the safety glasses because safety first. We are going to have some crazy sparks going on here. All right. Probably can't really give you guys a great vantage point safely, but what the heck. Okay, what I'm going to do now, for safety's sake, I'm going to go ahead and rotate this around just a wee bit, and then I'm going to get the rest of it at that angle so that I can chop it off, finish it up. There we go. Okay. Now, we got the screw out. That's what we needed. Now we need this off of here. And it's just going to be a little bit of a trick. There we go. Got it. Now, what I need is I need this bent at a 90-degree angle from where it is right now. That is also going to be a bit of a trick. What we're going to do is I'm going to grab it with one pair of pliers here, take another pair of pliers, and just, is that tightened up? No, there we go, now it's tightened up. Bend it. Okay, check it. I do believe I got it on the first try. Okay. Now, it is bent at a 90-degree angle. So this is going this direction here, and this one is at a 90-degree angle to the other piece. Okay. Wow, I really did. Okay, cool. So that takes care of that piece. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to take this tubing here, and we want to clamp it in here. Okay. At the same time, we want this guy. No, I'm sorry. This guy here to be the correct shape. So actually I'm going to take you guys over here to, sorry for the shaky cam, there we go. This is a bandsaw. What I need to do is chop this off at the same angle that I've got it chopped off on the other hand, which is like so. go. Oh, you know what? Had a little piece of metal there. That's okay, because I'm actually going to ditch this. This little piece of metal right here. I'm going to ditch that. So that's not going to be a problem. Alright. Let's take this sucker. There we go. Okay, take this apart. Now here's the thing, I don't want this spring here. I want to ditch the spring because I want to be able to control this clamp independently and not have that spring in there. So now that that's gone, I'm going to go ahead and replace this screw. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to just go ahead and even this out a little bit. And in fact, to finish it off, I'm going to use a grinder. You guys see that? Not very well. There you go. Grinder is great for getting that kind of fine finish. There we go. Just gonna tighten that up a bit. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now what I need to do is I need to actually kind of cut some of this off. I don't want so much of this big handle thing. Not quite there. I'm going to cut it off a little bit later. Here we go. Right here. And now I'm going to just make it a little thinner. Watch your fingers when you're doing this kind of thing. You'll lose them. What I do is I kind of get my finger just close enough, and then I pull back, and I don't get my finger a certain distance from it. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it up here. Okay, that's about where I want it. There we go. So I have shaved this down now, and yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so let's put you back here. And there. Okay. Now, what we want is we want this to slip in just like so. Right into this tube. But we want, oh, you know what? It's backwards. We want this part here. Okay. So, right there. And this part goes over here. Yep, that's a match. And then we want this come in like that, but I'm going to leave that for a sec, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. I'm going to tighten one side a bit, and I'm going to come over and tighten the other side, because I want to tighten them kind of evenly. I don't want it to come down and be tightened unevenly. Okay. Okay. It's getting there. Now, I'm going to examine this and see what I've got. Yes. Yes. Looking good. This is going to open on the outside just as this opens on the outside. Okay. Looking good. Okay, so go ahead and tighten this down just a bit more. Now that I'm kind of sure I'm going the right direction with it. Liking that head. Let's try this one. Yeah. Looks pretty even. Very tight grip. Liking it. Okay. Now I'm going to stick this tube in here. See how that works. Alright, yep, that's working. That's working for me. Alright, so we put this guy in here. Now what we need is a screw that's going to go down here and sort of lock it in place. Well, that is why we took this out and cut it short. Or cut it off with this piece. Because it is going to come in very handy for that purpose. But first, just to make sure that I get a good lock that it goes in there, I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole straight through this tube. Okay, now I have a hole going straight through this tube. I'm going to go ahead and check it out again. Careful with this stuff, you will cut a hole straight through your hand if you're not careful. Looking at this, I might make this a bit bigger. There we go. Put it back in here. And we're ready for the bolt. First, let's look how we did this here. We need this to go down first, and the bolt goes through that. Problem. Bolt won't fit. No problem. Well, problem, no problem. Gonna need to grip this carefully. I'm gonna drill straight through it. This is a metal cutting drill bit. Do not try this with a regular drill bit. This is a titanium drill bit. Titanium drill bits love to go straight through metal. Other drill bits, not so much. I'm going to break off some of these burrs here, or at least bend them out of the way. Okay, now we can put this bolt straight through. I'm going to line it up with the hole, and it is. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a start. There we go. I'm going to grab my, well, any old flathead will do. Take this straight in here. Now, at this point, I want to make sure it goes through that hole. Okay? I don't want it to just clamp the thing down. I want it to go ahead and go straight through it and make sure that I get a really tight lock. And then it actually holds this, not just in place, but keeps it from slipping from side to side. Okay, look at that. Went straight through it. And that's what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to line this up where I want it. Open these up a bit, hold it in place, and then tighten this bolt. Yep. Love it. Okay, there we go. So we are that far. Now we just need to get this far. Okay, next thing I'm going to worry about is this. This is interesting. Yeah. This is very interesting. Let's hammer this. Let's hammer this flat. Actually, I'm not even going to hammer it flat. I'm just going to bend it flat. And then I'm going to hammer it to kind of smooth it out. So I want to use this piece of metal, but I'm going to need it to bend in ways that it is currently not bending. Okay? The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a look at this again. Okay, I just want the edge. Is all I want. I want that edge to be curved over right about there. Okay. Okay, it's looking pretty good. This is a little jeweler's anvil is what this is. Now I've kind of got it where I want it. I'm going to flatten it out. Yep. Liking it. Looking good. So there we go. It is now bent in just the way I need it to be bent. That's what we did there. Make sure that it has a good curvature going on it. Okay, now what I need is I need this. This is the piston. This is going to go in here and it's going to be bolted down like so. Okay, so how am I going to accomplish that? I'm going to drill a hole through here, but here's the problem. This is an antenna, okay? So it's hollow. This does not bode well for us because a hollow little piece of aluminum is not going to have a whole lot of integrity. It's going to fall apart on us. So this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to get by that. I'm going to, this is epoxy putty, sometimes called plumber's putty. That is the variety that I have here. So I just cut off a piece of it with my razor blade, and as you can see, it is actually two different colors. It's light on the outside and dark on the inside. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mash these two halves together very quickly because I don't have a whole lot of working time with this. And that is going to give me an even gray tone. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to keep mashing this until I get an even gray tone out of it. Okay? And then once I've done that, then I want to pack it into this tube. So I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to just start inserting it into the tube. Okay? Roll it, insert it into the tube. I have just inserted quite a bit in here, and I believe it is probably widening out in there. I'm actually seeing it come out the sides. That's good. That means that it is filling that empty space in there and giving me a thicker piece of solid material here to drill through with some integrity. It will hold up. Okay. Okay. That's all of that. Just going to let that sit. That sets in a few minutes. I don't actually recall how long this one. Sometimes it's 8 minutes. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Kind of depends. In the meantime, I'm going to take just a little bit of it, and I'm going to do this with it. I am going to stick it into the little socket here to put your screw in. The little screw hole there. Why am I doing that? Because gigantic robot. In case you hadn't guessed yet, that is what this is going to belong to, a giant robot. Giant robot's not going to have screws. Giant robot would not have screws because you can't go down to the hardware store and get a screwdriver as big as a car. They don't have them. So when you see a giant, or when you see a screw of this scale, it blows the illusion. So covering up the screw holes, the screw fittings, these little cross sections, what it does for me is it kind of takes a little bit of the curse off there. Some modeling thing. It basically it makes them look like bolts. And that's what I want. I want these to look like bolts. I don't want them to look like little screws. I want them to look like giant, metal bolts that are being used to fasten this huge piece of machinery together. That's what we want. We want to convince the audience that this is not a model made from, assorted junk from the hardware store, which it totally is, but instead it is a giant, monstrous, walking dreadnought machine of death. Okay? That's the technical term for what we are trying to accomplish here. We're trying to create, and using a little bit of a sculpting tool here to just kind of pat it down on the edges and give me nice smooth edges on this bolt that I am fashioning. Okay. And that covers up all the screws, and guess what? This is now pretty darn hard, which tells me that all of it is pretty darn hard. Okay, so, yep, that's almost as solid as a rock there. That means I can take this and I can get started on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screw a little tiny screw in here to fasten this in place. Now, I need to pick just the right screw for the job. I think I'm going to go with this one. So that means that I need to have a thread size compatible with that screw. And this is important. In this, usually what you want to do is you want to match the shaft size and not the thread size. In this case, that's not what I want to do, because this screw is going to go in there pretty tight no matter what. I mean, it's going to go in and it's going to grab. What I don't want it to do is I don't want it to widen out and destroy the aluminum. That is a very real possibility here. Okay, so here we go. This is actually absolutely the worst way to do this, so I'm going to show you a better way to do this. Okay. This is a drill press. And this drill bit is too darn big. Okay, so when you want to make a serious hole in something and you really need it to be straight, okay, that's when a drill press really comes in handy. This is actually a Dremel, but the Dremel is a drill press, or is mounted in a drill press encasement here. Let's see, righty-tighty, tighten that up, grab the piece, I'm going to put it right here, and this is going to be loud, so, you know, I don't know, cover your ears or something. Looking good there. Okay, so I've done a couple of things here. I put an eye hook in here. That's one of these little guys right here. Okay, and I'm using the eye hook as a little, basically a socket here to put in the screw here, to put the screw through. So I just took a regular screw. And put it through here and lock these two pieces together using the eye hook. Okay, and now it opens and closes. I'll show you the spring was pretty simple. Basically, this is a spring that I got out of a battery compartment. You can get little springs like this out of all manner of battery compartments from old electronics. And I just kind of threaded it on here until it's just kind of barely sitting on there. And then I can put this guy through here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit this with a little glue so that it's right about there. And that's where I want it. And that way when it opens up, but when it closes, it just sort of touches the spring. And I'm also going to hit this little screw piece right here with a little bit of this little nut here with a little bit of glue, and lock it right into place so it doesn't ever come off. And then I'm going to go ahead and saw that little nub off. And that will complete the two hands. And here they are. So, I've already hit this one with glue on this side. So I'll just show you now. This is an important step because, just like the little Phillips heads, you know, on these screws, the threaded in here, I mean, you're not going to see a big threaded screw in a huge piece of machinery like this. So, again, to kind of take the curse off it, make it look less like a little toy, I'm going to remove that. There we go. And now there's this big bolt holding it in place, but there's no giant threaded screw coming off of it. And that gives it a cool mechanical look, but without, you know, obvious screws, you know, being involved in the mechanics of it. Okay. So there we go. There's a mechanical hand. Now, just to let you know, I guess where the rest of this stuff came from. This little socket here, this piece, is I got that in the hardware store in the electricity aisle. So it's something that is supposed to bolt on a conduit, I believe. Has to do with electricity. This, as you saw in the beginning, this is just a little clamp. And these clamps, I mean, you can get these in a huge bag for a few bucks. Tons of these. So, you know, they make great little robot hands. This is a antenna off of a radio. Okay. The spring obviously came from the radio as well. That was the battery from the battery compartment, and this piece here is actually it's a play pause button from a radio. Okay, but it just has a weird, interesting look. And then this is tubing here that I picked up at a hardware store. So this is sort of a spare parts junky robot assembly here. Obviously you can see my hand moving this, and you know, that wouldn't work at all for a rod puppet, right? Well, this isn't actually going to be a rod puppet. It kind of looks like one because of this piece. This is just a hydraulic, you know, doohickey, whatever. What I'm going to be doing, and the way that I'm going to be animating this, is of course stop motion. So I don't need it to actually, you know, be operable. Now, if I did, I could take this and I could feed a cable through this piping here, and this tube, and actually control this, and that would be really nice. That'd be really cool. But what I'm going to do, since this is a stop motion game, is I'm going to be feeding our armature wire straight through here, and I'll be using that to pose the arm. And then, one frame at a time, I will be manipulating the claws. Okay, so I don't need automation in this case, and that actually frees me up a little bit design-wise. But as you can see, with just a little bit of modification, if I wanted to, I could add automation and make this a rod puppet. So anyway, I know you're probably wondering what the heck is the rest of this robot going to look like. Well, stay tuned. Thanks.